This is an MHP30 mini hot plate. Uh, I got a lot of questions about this in my last video when I was building a tiny ESP32. So I thought I'd just make a short video about it, explaining what it is and what I like and don't like about it. So it is, as the name implies, a tiny little hot plate that this thing heats up, and you can put your electronic components on top and it'll heat it up, and you can desolder boards or solder boards together with solder paste. And yeah, I've had this one for almost 2 years now, and I've had basically zero issues with it. It works every time. I haven't had any complaints about that. It's very simple in its design. It's only got two buttons, and it's got a USB-C port to power it. Now, it doesn't use just normal 5-volt power, I don't believe. It comes with a big power supply brick, which outputs at 20 volts, about 3 amps. I will say, be careful when you're shopping for these, because I have seen listings where they don't include the power supply, and the price seems cheaper. I don't know. I mean, you might be able to plug this in with just normal 5 volts and it might work, but not very well. I don't know, but I would highly recommend making sure you get the power brick with it. There will be a link down below in the description linking to this listing that does have a power supply, so just check that out if you're interested. As far as the features on this thing goes, like I mentioned a second ago, it's only got two buttons, and these are how you navigate through the menu system and set the temperature. It has an option for 3 temperature presets, so you can set 3 presets and then easily just tap to each preset if you want to heat it up to that temperature. It has a sleep function that you can set. It's not on by default. You have to turn that on. So while this thing is plugged in, it's on all the time. And you can plug it in and not turn the heat on, and it'll just be in kind of an on state. But if you turn the heat on, it'll just stay on indefinitely, unless you have the sleep function. So yeah, I would definitely make sure you set that. I've left this thing plugged in before on accident, and like 6 hours later I came back and it was piping hot before I had set the sleep function on it. So I'd highly recommend doing that. There's also a tilt detection setting in there that you can change. So if you accidentally knock it over while it's hot, it'll automatically start cooling down. That's another thing that you have to turn on by yourself. And then it just has some other basic settings. You can change the backlight color and things like that. It also glows different colors underneath the hot plate for the temperature range that you're in. So if it's green, I believe that it's not hot, and then if it's red, then it's super hot. And there's some other colors in between. On my power supply here, I put a piece of tape on my USB-C cable, and you might be wondering why you would want to do that. Well, in my case, I have a bunch of USB-C cables on my desk plugged into various things, and this looks like any other USB-C cable. And so it's meant for this thing, but I have accidentally plugged in like an actual board into it before. Not that one in particular, but they don't take too kindly to getting 20 volts, so I just put a piece of tape on it so I can keep track of which cable is which for this thing. So hopefully I don't do that again. But like I said, overall, I'm really happy with this thing. I literally use it all the time. The top's getting a little discolored from all the use, but it's well worth it. Now, it is really, I would say one downside of this thing is it is small. So it's kind of meant for more smaller things. Like, doing my tiny ESP32, it's super convenient. That was perfect size. I have done bigger stuff on it. Like you can set components on it that kind of hang off the edge, and to heat up whatever you're trying to rework. I will say, when you do something like this, you got to be careful, because if you take a component off and it disrupts the weight, I've had it before where I've taken a component off and the weight shifts and the whole thing falls off the hot plate and little parts go everywhere. So that's just something to consider. You can do bigger stuff like like a panel or a bigger board. You just kind of have to hold it on like this. I've done this quite a bit too. You do have to be somewhat careful though, because the closer you're holding something to the hot plate, your board itself will get really, really hot. So just something to consider. But you can do bigger stuff on this thing. But like I said, overall, if you're in this kind of space, like you make stuff, or you know somebody, like a Christmas gift or whatever you're trying to find for a maker in your family or yourself, I highly recommend this thing. It's amazing, and I use it all the time. So, like I said, there will be a link down below to the listing for this thing if you want to take a look and shop around for one. But yeah, if you have any questions, let me know down below, and I'll do my best to answer them. So, thanks for watching, guys.